Here is a number that has been drilled into Porsche owners for decades: 5,000 miles. Change your oil every 5,000 miles and your engine will supposedly live forever. It sounds responsible, it sounds safe, and for a surprising number of owners, it is quietly the wrong way to think about it. Because the truth that the quick-lube chains, and even the factory, will never put on a sticker is this: the mileage number on its own is almost meaningless. Engines do not fail because the oil crossed some magic figure. They fail because owners pour in the wrong oil, fit a bargain filter, ignore how the car is actually driven, or blindly trust a schedule built around marketing and warranty periods rather than the long-term health of a flat six. You can absolutely harm a Porsche by leaving the oil in far too long, but you can just as easily waste your money, or even do quiet damage by worshipping a number while ignoring everything that actually matters. Most of these myths sound like plain common sense, which is exactly what makes them so dangerous, because they feel responsible while quietly working against the very engine they are meant to protect. Stay to the end, because the last one is printed in your own service book, and it is the most expensive lie of them all. Today we count down the 9 oil myths costing Porsche owners engines and fortunes, and number 1 ties the whole story together. Let us count them down. Number 9. Every Porsche just needs its oil changed every 5,000 miles. This is where the whole misunderstanding begins, because owners cling to one universal figure as if every car and every life lived the same way. It does not. A weekend 911 that does 5,000 gentle, fully warmed-up highway miles has barely stressed its oil at all. A Cayenne that spends its life on short, cold school runs, never quite reaching full temperature, has cooked and diluted its oil long before that same 5,000 miles is up. The flat six is especially prone to fuel sneaking past the rings on those cold, short trips and thinning the oil from the inside. And on that car, the mileage on the dash tells you almost nothing about the real condition of what is protecting your engine. And the garage queen that covers barely 1,000 miles a year has a different problem again, because oil degrades on the calendar as much as on the odometer, picking up moisture and acid as it sits. So the low-mileage trailer car can need a change long before its miles ever suggest it. Engineers have a quiet phrase for short trips, heavy traffic, cold weather, and track use. They call it severe service, and a remarkable number of Porsches live there without their owners ever realizing it. The honest answer is that 2 near-identical cars can need completely different intervals depending only on how and where they are driven, which is precisely why a single universal number can never be right for everyone. 2 cars, the same figure on the sticker, 2 completely different worlds inside the sump. Mileage alone is the crudest possible measure, and treating it as gospel is exactly how this story goes wrong. Number 8. Changing the oil early always protects the engine. This one feels bulletproof because surely more frequent changes can only help. Not necessarily. The danger hides in what owners actually pour in when they change that often, because the temptation to save money with a cheap, non-approved oil and a bargain filter grows every single time, and a Porsche engine fed the wrong oil frequently is in far more danger than one given the correct oil at a sensible interval. Quick-lube chains adore the early change mindset because fear sells, and a worried owner who believes dirty oil will instantly destroy the engine is an easy sell for service. It may not need with products it should never use. Specialists who open these engines up regularly will tell you the same thing, that a flat six obsessively serviced with cut-price oil often looks far worse inside than one run on the correct full synthetic at a longer interval. There is a darker version of this too, because the more often an owner buys oil on price, the higher the odds of eventually pouring in a counterfeit or mislabeled product that never met the approval on its own label, and on a Porsche that is a direct route to the kind of internal wear that does not announce itself until the rebuild quote arrives. The owner who changes religiously at a bargain chain with whatever bulk oil sits in the dispenser can be doing more harm than the one who runs the correct approved synthetic for twice as long, which is the exact opposite of what the early change instinct promises. Frequency is not the same as protection. The quality of what goes in matters more than how often you do it. Number 7. Synthetic oil is just marketing, so any oil will do. This myth is genuinely dangerous on a Porsche. These engines run hot by design. The flat six packs its heat into a tight rear bay, and the turbocharged cars spin bearings at colossal speed in extreme temperatures. A cheap conventional or non-approved oil simply cannot hold its film and resist breakdown under those conditions. And once it thins or carbons up, the protection collapses exactly where the engine is most vulnerable. Porsche did not invent its oil approvals for fun. The codes you see, the A40 for older engines and the C30 and C40 for newer and turbocharged ones, define the precise additive chemistry, the sheer stability, and the thermal performance these specific engines need, not just a viscosity number on the front of the bottle. Remember, That a turbocharger can spin past 200,000 revolutions a minute while glowing with heat, fed by tiny oil passages that a poor oil will varnish and choke, and that the cold start protection, the deposit resistance, and the viscosity stability of a real synthetic are doing invisible work every single time you drive. On the bore-scoring prone flat sixes, this is not abstract, because the cylinder walls are protected by almost nothing but that oil film. So the wrong oil and the right oil are quite literally the difference between a healthy engine and a scored one. Match the approval to your exact engine, and the oil is doing precisely the job it was formulated for, in the conditions it was formulated for. Using a correctly approved full synthetic is not upselling. It is the difference between an oil film that survives a hard mountain road on a hot day and one that quietly lets metal touch metal. Number 6. If the oil still looks clean, it must still be good. Your eyes are almost useless here, and trusting them is how slow damage begins. Oil color tells you very little because a good detergent oil is supposed to darken as it holds contaminants in suspension instead of letting them bake onto the engine, so dark oil can actually be doing its job. Far more dangerous is oil that still looks fine on the dipstick reading while it has already lost its viscosity and its protective additives to heat and fuel dilution. On a direct injection flat 6 that does a lot of short trips, the oil can be chemically exhausted while still looking perfectly respectable, and the bearings pay the price long before anything looks wrong. The engines that suffer for this are the ones whose owners proudly report that the oil always looked clean, right up until a bearing starts knocking, because clean to the eye and protective in chemistry are two completely different things. This is the entire reason oil analysis exists, because a lab test costing about the price of a tank of fuel sees what your eyes never can, measuring fuel dilution, viscosity, and wear metals directly, and laboratories routinely flag dangerous contamination in oil that looked completely healthy on the stick. That is the whole trap of judging by appearance. Because the failure modes that matter most, fuel dilution and additive depletion, are completely invisible, and by the time the oil looks or smells obviously wrong, the damage is usually already underway. Number 5. The oil filter does not really matter. Owners will agonize over which oil to buy, and then fit the cheapest filter on the shelf, which is exactly backwards. A bargain filter often uses weak media that can tear or collapse, a poor bypass valve, and a failing anti-drainback valve. And that last one matters enormously, because when the car sits overnight, the oil drains out of a bad filter and the engine starts the next morning with a moment of metal on metal before pressure builds. Cold starts are where most wear happens, and a poor filter makes every single one worse. A proper, genuine, or correct original equipment filter protects the bearings, the cam chains, and the turbos every second the engine runs, holds its oil overnight, and filters properly right to the end of the interval. Specialists who cut open bargain filters at the end of an interval routinely find the media already torn or collapsing, debris bypassing filtration, and the anti-drainback valve no longer sealing, which is precisely the hidden wear that grinds an engine down a fraction at a time. It is one of the cheapest parts on the whole car and one of the most important, and skimping on it quietly undoes all the care you put into choosing the right oil. Think of the filter and the oil as a single system rather than two separate purchases, because the finest synthetic in the world cannot protect an engine if the filter feeding it is tearing, bypassing, or draining back overnight. If you enjoy this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Number 4. The car's service indicator always knows best. The maintenance reminder in a modern Porsche is a useful tool, but it is not a chemist. These systems estimate oil life from an algorithm that watches temperature, engine speed, load, and how often you start the car, and then they predict. They do not actually test a single drop of your oil. That difference matters enormously because an owner who drives in the hardest possible way for oil, short cold trips, heavy traffic, or repeated track sessions can be degrading the oil far faster than the algorithm assumes, while the dash still shows plenty of life remaining. The indicator is calibrated for average, gentle conditions, and a great many Porsches are driven under what the engineers would quietly call severe service without their owners ever realizing it. Owners have stretched intervals well past sensible limits because the dash still read 20% of oil life remaining, while underneath the engine was already fighting fuel dilution and the early stages of sludge, and on the timing chain-driven engines that thinning oil pressure is exactly what lets a chain start to wear. If your Porsche sees short trips, traffic, heat, or any track time at all, assume the real number is well short of what the screen promises. The system has no way of knowing you spent the weekend at a track day or sat through an hour of summer traffic. It only sees the broad inputs, so it averages out exactly where your real driving spikes. Trust it as a backstop, never as the final word, and let how you actually drive override the number on the screen. Number 3. You can just top it up with whatever oil is on the shelf. A liter low on a road trip, so you grab whatever the petrol station sells and pour it in, and you have just introduced a problem you may not see for years. Porsche engines are engineered around specific oil standards, not merely a viscosity grade, and repeatedly mixing in non-approved oils with different additive packages dilutes the very chemistry the engine depends on, encouraging the sludge and varnish that restrict oil passages and starve the top end. On the bore-scoring prone engines in particular, where the cylinder walls rely entirely on the right oil film, the wrong top-up is not a harmless stopgap. It is not that one emergency top-up will grenade the engine, but that years of casual mixing slowly rewrites the additive chemistry the engine was designed around. And on the alloy bore engines that depend so completely on a stable oil film, that drift is exactly the kind of thing owners never connect back to maintenance until the damage is done. A single correct spec top-up in a genuine emergency is fine. The problem is making a habit of whatever is cheapest and nearest, because each wrong liter nudges the chemistry a little further from what the engine actually needs. Carry a liter of your car's correct approved oil in the frunk, use only that, and never let a 4-quart bottle of mystery oil become a permanent part of your engine's diet. Number 2. A brief low oil pressure warning means you still have time. This is the one that turns a problem into a catastrophe. Drivers see the oil pressure light flicker, the car still feels fine, so they carry on, sometimes for days. On a Porsche Flat 6, that is a gamble with the entire engine, because these engines run tight tolerances and oil starvation destroys the rod bearings astonishingly fast, especially at speed. A low-pressure warning is not an amber suggestion, it is a red emergency, and it does not care whether the car still sounds and feels perfectly normal, because by the time you can hear the damage, it has already happened. The moment it appears, you come off the throttle, find a safe place, and shut the engine down, because the difference between stopping immediately and pushing on for one more junction can be the difference between checking a level and rebuilding a bottom end. The repair on the other side of that decision is a bottom-end rebuild that climbs deep into 5 figures on these engines, against the few minutes it would have cost to pull over and investigate. Unlike a slow leak that nags for months, oil starvation is measured in seconds and miles rather than days. So the instinct to nurse the car home is exactly the instinct that destroys it. No other warning on the car deserves more instant respect, and ignoring it has ended more good engines than almost anything else on this list. Number 1. Porsche's official 10,000-mile interval is always safe. Here is the most expensive lie of all, and it is the one printed in your own service book. The factory interval is not set purely for the longest possible engine life. It is balanced against the cost of ownership owners want to see, the warranty period the car has to survive, and the simple marketing appeal of a car that looks cheap and easy to maintain. And for a Flat 6 driven hard, driven cold, or driven on track, 10,000 miles is simply too long between changes. This is exactly the window in which fuel dilution accumulates and the oil film thins enough to let the dreaded bore scoring take hold. The failure that turns a beloved 911 or Boxster into a 5-figure rebuild. Manufacturers extended these intervals over the years, partly because oil genuinely improved, but also because a car advertised with 10,000-mile services simply looks cheaper and more modern to own, and because the schedule only has to comfortably outlast the warranty, not reach 300,000 miles. This is why independent Porsche specialists and the enthusiast community almost universally recommend having that figure for real-world driving, to 5,000 miles or 6 months for a street car, and far sooner for a tracked one. And why so many of them confirm it with a periodic oil analysis rather than guessing at all. Notice the resolution, because the 5,000 miles from the start of this video was never the villain. The villain was ever trusting a single number, whether the quick-lube chains or the factories, without thinking about the oil, the filter, and how you actually drive. Look after those 3, and the interval quietly takes care of itself. So what actually protects a Porsche engine for the long haul? Forget the magic number and do these things instead. Use the correct Porsche-approved full synthetic oil for your exact engine every time, with no exceptions and no forecourt substitutes. Fit a genuine or correct original equipment filter, because it guards every cold start and every mile in between. Match your interval to how you really drive, leaning shorter for short trips, hard use, or track days, and never blindly trusting either extreme. Once in a while, send a small oil sample to a lab for analysis, because for the price of a tank of fuel, it tells you the truth your eyes and your dashboard never can, and it is the single check that turns all of this from guesswork into certainty on an engine far too valuable to gamble with. And check your oil level properly through the car's gauge, warm and on level ground, so a slow leak or a thirsty engine never catches you out, because running a Flat 6 low on oil is just another route to the same starvation that wrecks the bottom end. None of it is expensive or difficult. It is simply paying attention to the things that genuinely protect the engine instead of the one number that does not. Do that, and you will never again have to wonder whether some figure on a sticker is quietly destroying the finest engine you will ever own. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.